From the center of the universe, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, this is the SDM Show with your host, Rob Cairns. The SDM Show focuses on business, life, productivity, digital marketing, WordPress, and more. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite drink, and enjoy the show. Here is Rob.
Hi, everybody, I'm Rob Cairns. Today is a really special episode. It's episode 500 of the SDM Show. I'm in one way surprised I'm here, to be honest. And in other ways, I'm glad I'm here. And it's been a long haul. So a special thank you to all the guests, all the people who've listened, everybody else. You're all appreciated. A special dedication is show to Tiz Marrone for all the inspiration and for pushing me when I need to be pushed. It's been a bit of a haul, folks, and it's been a hard year between health problems and many other things. I actually never thought I'd get here. So all I want to do is say thank you. And without further ado, my guest for episode 500 is Mark Westguard at WS Forms. We're going to sit down and talk about some of the cool things that WS Forms is doing. So relax, grab a drink, and enjoy the conversation that Mark and I had. Hey, everybody. Stunning Digital Marketing is your digital concierge. We help you put the pieces together to make your marketing success. Specialties we have including WordPress design and development, WordPress security, which is one of our most popular offerings, ads, and more. So if you want to succeed in the digital world, go on over to stunningdigitalmarketing.com and have a look at what we offer, and we'd be glad to help you. And let's jump on a call and make it happening. That's stunningdigitalmarketing.com. Hey, everybody, Rob Cairns here. And today I've got my good friend, Mr. Mark Westguard, with me from WS Forms. Hey, Mark. Thank you for
Hey,
joining.
Rob, how are you?
Oh, doing good. This is like a special episode. I normally, anybody who's listening to this podcast knows, I normally don't mention the episode number except for key numbers. This is episode 500, if you can believe that. So that's it's been
That's amazing.
Long road. Thank you. I appreciate it. You know, it helps when you've got people like our mutual friend who introduced us, Mr. Bob Dunn, in the community. It helps. You've got, I'm good friends with Joe Casabono, and Joe and I recently did a chat about podcasting. I kind of love podcasting. I was sharing with you before we went to record. I started this at the start of COVID, and I figured I was going to do 5 or 6 interviews because I was bored, and then 6 became and 15 became 30. And then I hit 100 and said, oh, God, do we have something going on here? Then I hit 2, then I hit 3, and now I've hit 5. And what does a podcaster do that's already busy? He starts another podcast, which I also did recently. So there you go.
Episode 501 is coming.
Yes, it is.
And you'll soon be. I feel like I should be interviewing you for this one.
It's funny because most people who podcast, and Bob's a little different. Bob does short turnaround times, I think, on most of his show.
Mm-hmm.
And you're now a regular co-host with Bob. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, looking forward to that.
I heard that a couple of weeks ago. I think it's been announced on X and other channels pretty publicly recently, but
yeah.
Some little birdie told me. So
now we've just got to come up with stuff to talk about.
Well, that shouldn't be awful. But I think part of it is what podcasting is, truthfully, a lot of it's organization. I've got a client right now where I'm helping them get going with the podcast. And I said, every episode's like 5 to 6 hours of work. And the nice thing about co-hosting is you don't have to do any of the production. You don't have to.
We just do the talking. Bob does all the hard work.
Yeah, you've got this figured out, don't you?
I'm looking forward to it. We're going to be talking about basically small businesses in the WordPress space. I've always had a passion to help people out. There's a lot of newcomers that come into the space, and it's a big old space. There's a lot of big names out there, and it can be difficult and challenging to get your name recognized. So looking forward to talking to some small businesses that I know, and maybe some new ones that I don't know as well.
I think the important thing about small businesses is to get involved in the community and
Absolutely.
stay out of what I call the crap, the shit show, and the drama. Like, just yeah, I can use those words because it's my show, right?
It's your show. Yeah. And it's show 500 as well. So
yeah. But really, like, get involved in the community. Go to an event, get online, join some of these online groups where they have open discussions. One of my favorite online groups is a group that Brian Gardner over at WP Engine called Build Mode on Fridays. So, hats off to Brian and his team for doing that for us. And all we talked about is blocks and block-based themes and concerns with that. And it's a pretty open group. That group we don't record because we have policy. What happens in build mode stays in build mode. The old happens in Vegas, but seems to. But it's just an interesting group, and I think people genuinely care about each other, and that's something that makes our space different, right?
Yeah, I've never worked in an industry that has more people that want to help you out. It's genuinely heartwarming, and just going to a work camp and talking to people is so rewarding. You know, you can be standing at the bar, and next thing you know, you've built a relationship with somebody, and you're working on something together. I think that face to face sometimes can be really powerful. I do a lot of stuff online, like everybody else, but actually going to an event, I think, has really helped me out. That's why I've tried to give back by sponsoring. And at WordCamp US, I did just a get together, just got people together to have a drink, have some food. And a lot of the people I already knew there, but it was just nice to, reaffirm those relationships and say hello to friends and keep that relationship going. And what tends to happen then is if you do something with your product, they inevitably want to talk about it to their audience because they want content as well. So it takes time. It's if you're a bootstrap business and you don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars for marketing to spend, then you're going to be relying on other people to help get the word out there. But there's no better place to do it than the WordPress community, in my opinion.
No, I agree with that. And what I would say is a lot of people don't understand this stuff takes time, right? So I look at you, I look at our friend Vikas over at Instant WP. He's another one, right? He's kind of started bootstrapping his business. Now I look at people like that and I say, hey, these guys have done it right. They've gone and they've built those relationships. And I walked into an event last month with one of the hosting companies out of Montreal, WCC, and I ran into people that knew me because of my reputation in the community, not because they knew me personally. And that happens to me every event I ever walk into because, like you, I'm pretty forefront in the community, and there's a lot of work still to be done, and we got to keep building those relationships. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think you've got to, if you're going to go into developing a product or anything, I mean, it could be starting a new podcast or whatever. It's going to take time to build. It took me 2 years to get any kind of traction with WS Form. I was the new kid on the block, and everyone's like, "Who's this?" And it takes time to build those relationships and build awareness in the community. And even then, you're only scratching the surface. Going to a WordCamp, you're scratching the absolute tip of the apex of the pyramid when you're going to a WordCamp in terms of WordPress users. So there are other avenues you have to look at to try and build on that. But it's really rewarding, when you get it to a point where it's ticking over nicely, and people start to recognize the product, and also like word of mouth recommendations is incredibly rewarding when somebody says, hey, use this product, I'm using it. Having people do that and writing positive reviews about your product is great. I love it. I love every day of it.
Yeah, I agree. And your product's growing. I mean, we were talking before we went to Era, but your new styler, and at the time
Yeah.
this comes out, it will probably already be out. What would you say is the number one feature in your new styler?
Probably the move to using CSS variables all the way through, which will make styling a lot easier. So there's several ways you can style using that. You can use the styler, which will set those CSS variables for you and change the colors for you. But if you're using a third-party product for styling your site, maybe like ACSS, then it integrates in with those as well. So you've got a lot of flexibility on how you can design your forms, and it's something I've been meaning to do for so long. Finally got around to it, and everyone's going, "Yeah, at last it's been done." And I think it's really going to take the product to another level. It's one of the things, we were relying on the customized tool in WordPress for a long time, just because that's what was out there when we first built WS Form. And technology's moved along. We've listened to our customers, and we've built that styler to help them out. And they're really, we've actually been beta testing it with some customers, and they're loving what they're seeing. So by the time this is out, it should be launched and ready, and everyone will be going, finally.
Yeah, I'm already going finally seeing them. So it's like Guga Gaga and the video and all the work you're doing, you should be commended. Like it's to me, and I'm not saying this just because you're on the show and you've been on the show multiple times. Uh, it's the easiest form builder to build. And like I would encourage anybody who's using WS Forms to make sure you sign up for free Cloudflare Turnstile account and just be done with the spam. Just get it.
That's what I tell everyone. They contact me saying this isn't working, and I like a reCAPTCHA, and it's because they've got reCAPTCHA loading 3 times on the page. And I just say, just install Cloudflare Turnstile. It works. It's always my recommendation, and it does work. It's great.
The only drawback with Cloudflare Turnstile is you can only install one website per free account, right? So if you got multiple websites, you have multiple emails, but that's either inconvenience at the end of the day.
I can't remember the limits on it, to be honest. And I don't know whether they're always changing things, aren't they? But I use it on my site, and it works great. I've never had any trouble with it.
The spam curtails by Dramatic. I had a couple of Canadian political writing association sites when we were talking about, and the minute they put Cloudflare Turnstile on their contact form, their stupid spam like disappeared overnight, and and I swear they were getting like 100 bots a day. Like they were the bots were bored.
Yeah, there are even bots nowadays that aren't bots. They're physically people sitting there typing the form submission. I don't understand how they're getting paid or why they do it. But yes, it's a constant battle, isn't it? Form spam, and Turnstile helps. Obviously AI is not helping with it because it's able to solve these things and get stuff through. There's so many different levels you can do. But I like having just Cloudflare on the front end of my site as well to stop certain traffic coming through in the first place before it even hits the form. So, but yeah, we make sure that the spam protection, because we have 2 versions of WS Form. There's a light edition, which is free, and then we have our pro edition. And we've made sure that all the spam features are available in both of those because it's so important to try and prevent that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Just trying to think. Integrations you up to? What's the number now? I know that they're huge. I was looking at them.
I think it's about 95, something like that.
Yeah, it's growing, right? It's like growing.
Yeah, and we've got a new payment. I don't think I'm allowed to talk about it yet, but we have a new payment integration coming, which is going to be quite cool because it's quite a feature-rich payment integration, and that's about all I can say about it at the moment. But yeah, so there's been a lot of other stuff that we've been working on besides the starter in the background. But yeah, those integrations are always growing. We always get suggestions for new ones, and we've got most of the major ones done. Like Salesforce, Mailchimp, all that kind of stuff. But our integrations go a little bit further than other form plugins, as you know. You click on add and it builds a form for you, which the others don't, and it auto maps everything. So yeah, just continual development, Rob. It just keeps me busy.
does, and then you've got clients to manage too in between A and B.
Yeah. Still doing a little bit of agency work, but that's down to one client now. I mean, I'd still do a bunch of hosting for some companies, but yeah, WS Form is definitely now my day job, which is where I wanted to get to, and yeah, thankful for it.
Yeah, and you've met some amazing people. Both of us are mutual friends with Adrian Toby over at Groundhog. And
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, love Adrian, love his product as well. His product's amazing. And it just like me, he's always tinkering and adding stuff to Groundhog and making it better. And yeah, we're actually about to do some fun stuff together. We're going to be doing some articles about how you can use our products together because we have a deep integration with Groundhog.
Yep.
And looking forward to doing some more fun stuff with him to help people use our products mutually.
It's funny. Yesterday, I was looking at the iTeam security list. Oh, the dreaded security list. And from talking to me, that's a bit of my bag.
Yeah.
Man, sites for security. And
yes, you do.
You know what I was thinking? I don't think I've seen WS Forms on a security list ever. To be honest,
it's on there. It's on there. Yeah, I mean, like any plugin that this big, I mean, it's huge under the hood. There's going to be security issues that come up and we fix them. I mean, honestly, if we get a security notification, I fix it probably within an hour to make sure it's patched. But it's usually silly little things, like you've got to be logged in, you've got to put this particular thing in a query. I mean, you've got to know about it. And usually it's stuff that only an admin user would be able to do. But yeah, we take security issues seriously, just like every other plugin company should. And if something comes up, we fix it pretty quickly. We're quite close with PatchStack. We're on their what it's called now, where you can submit the security issues. But they've got a submission process for doing that kind of stuff, and they reach out if anything. I mean, it's like very infrequent, like once or twice a year maybe. But if it does come up, we jump on it quickly.
Yeah, Oliver Sid and his group do an amazing job over there, and I'm kind of all in with Solid WP security. And those who don't know,
Solid
WP is based on a PatchStack backend. So a lot of people don't know that, but same database.
I did not know that. Yeah.
I will not mention a certain security firm that starts with a W on this podcast due to and I don't mean WS Forms, by the way. You can.
No, I'm not getting into security. We'll deal with it, but I'm not getting into that realm. That's a whole different bag.
And I think a lot of it is honestly, it's who you trust. Like, do you trust your plugin vendor, i.e., you, for a fix pretty quick? And I think you have. I know Adrian's had a couple problems, not to single Adrian out, but I can. Over at Groundhog, where he's shown up on that list a couple of times, not in a long time.
Yeah, it's part of programming. It's part of life, and these companies like to kind of make a little bit of a song and dance about it, but that's their job, right? And if you look on those lists, pretty much every major plugin is going to be on there. The main thing is, are they fixing it? Are they addressing it? Are they jumping on it? Yep. And I'm actually thankful for the people that look for those bugs and call them out, and it makes the product better at the end of the day. So, yeah, I'm all for it.
I think part of the problem, too, is AI is making that a lot difficult right now. I mean, AI, it's funny, before we went to record, I was reading an article about Bitcoin scams today. They were talking about what they're doing is they're creating videos, and they're dropping in people like Bill Clinton and Johnson, and they're using AI to generate all these videos to give public the impression that these endorse the product, and they have nothing to do with it.
No, they've done nothing about it.
It was a Canadian couple that was scammed out of $400,000 Canadian this week.
Oh, yeah, it's they prey on the vulnerable, don't they? And yeah, I mean, I guess one thing that worries me a little bit about AI is just people taking code that it generates on face value and then sticking it into a plugin or a theme or even their functions PHP file or their code snippet And it doesn't always take into account security. So, inputs may not be sanitized, outputs might not be escaped. So, yeah, that's a little bit worrying. I'm seeing a lot of plugins pop up, and they're like, "Yeah, I made this 100% from ChatGPT," and who knows, how well the code's written underneath. So, I'm sure that's going to put some pressure on the plugin review team at WordPress.
AI and WS Forms. You've done some AI integration with WS Forms already, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Planning on doing some more, and where's that going?
So we keep up to date with OpenAI and all the new models that are coming out. So there's a couple of things that it does. First of all, you can actually build a form just by typing in what you want, and it'll build a form for you. So you can say, I want a dog adoption form, and it spits it out. And it does things like setting all the labels, the help text. It even fills out select drop downs and checkboxes and all that kind of stuff. It's quite cool. And then the other side of it is you can actually use the OpenAI API to use their features on your form. So, for example, you could ask it to create a blog post image or an avatar image, or you could make it write a blog post, and it'll go off, get the blog post, and insert it into the form. So yeah, and then there are some other like competitors to OpenAI that I'd like to have a look at and see if we can get an integration done with them eventually. So it's a fast moving area. We jumped on OpenAI very early. We were one of the first that did. I think we were the first that did the OpenAI form generator. We announced that almost 2 years ago now, I think. Yeah. So just keeping on top of everything and keeping up with the technology. We want to embrace it.
It's actually interesting when you look at AI. Did you know that the adoption of Edge has actually gone up and not down because of Copilot and the AI?
Okay.
And the other one that's gone down dramatically, believe it or not, is Firefox. Firefox is down to less than 5% of the market, if not less right now.
Wow.
They don't have any direct AI integration.
No, yeah. I mean, I use Firefox for testing, but I admit I'm still I just use Chrome. I used to use Firefox all the time, and I always used to use Safari. And they kind of got to a point where they were just so slow and hogging memory. I'm sure they're better now. I'm not sure, but then I just thought, I'm going to just go with Chrome, and I've been using it ever. I guess I'm just so used to I use the browser inspector all day long, so I'm just kind of used to it now.
Well, I was saying to you before we went there, if I've got one browser on this Windows laptop, I've got 9. It's gotten that. And, every time I try a new browser, I've tried Art. I've got Brave on here, which is Chromium based. So is Art.
Yeah.
I've tried everything under the sun. And I almost always end back to Edge and Chrome, no matter what.
Yeah, or whatever you're used to, right? I mean, a lot of people use those, privacy focused. I think Google's got more data on me than I do, so I've kind of given up.
I have too, and that's another issue. Forms in Europe, we got to go there, because we all know the European Economic Union has a whole new pile of rules. Does it ever cause you any concern?
No, I mean we've always been privy to like GDPR and stuff like that on the forms. So for me, the biggest thing is like translating forms and things like that for other countries. So, but yeah, on also like accessibility as well. With the new release we're doing, version 110, has a lot of new accessibility stuff added to it. I've been working with Jen Hares about all that stuff, and she has so much knowledge in the accessibility realm, and I have been setting up time with her, just sitting down with her, and she's been giving some fantastic advice. Within 5 minutes, I've got my hour's worth with her. I'm just like, okay, I need a month to go through this, but she's at the forefront of accessibility, helping WS Form out with just continual improvement. I mean, it's just an ongoing thing. It's not something that you can do overnight. We've always been good on accessibility. That's been one of our main selling points. But there's always more that we can do. And so that's probably our biggest thing right now, is just, continue working with her on that front for all those kind of rules, because accessibility is obviously always important, but legally it's becoming more important as well. So
in Ontario, certainly, like if you're with a public company that's government run, that's a bit of an issue.
Mhm.
All mandated as of a couple of years ago, they all had to be accessible websites, newsletters, believe it or not, another thing.
Yep, yep.
That's a challenge. Um, and I think accessibility has some other benefits too, like SEO and other benefits that come out of it as well, which we
Oh
all know.
yeah, yeah. I mean, accessibility is good for everyone, and not just people that have a need for accessibility. But if you make your site accessible, it makes it easier to use.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do all the usual stuff like high contrast colors and making sure all the ARIA tags are there behind the scenes and making sure that those behave the way that they should. You know, it's not just a case of putting ARIA tags on your form, but they actually have to behave properly. You know, so yeah, and it's I quite enjoy actually learning about it and implementing it and making the product better.
Yep, that's good. Um, do you have anything you're planning that you can ease or share or beyond the payment integration company?
Yeah, so we've got an integration with WPML coming. That one's been a long time coming because we have our forms are, as you know, are quite a bit more complicated than just your regular form builder. They can do a lot more. So because of those data types, that's been a little bit of a challenge with things like WPML in terms of being able to translate those using their tools.
Yep.
But we're almost there with that. So that's going to be the next priority after the styler. And as I say, styler hopefully coming out in the next few weeks. So looking forward to that. And then really it's going to be a case of going to our feature request list from our users, which is huge, and picking the next big thing. I've got some ideas that I'm not going to divulge. I've given you WPML, but there's all sorts of stuff that we could be working on, you know. And the further down the line we get, things become more and more niche, you know. But we have some great ideas that come from our customers, and we had one the other day. I forget what it was now. What was it? I can't remember. But somebody just made a suggestion, and I thought, you know what, I can do that in about 10 minutes. So I just did it because I thought that's brilliant, and we can use that elsewhere in the plugin. So I know what it was. It was limiting people submitting, but only if they're logged in. So we just added a checkbox for that and added it. So, you know, some stuff we can do quickly, other stuff takes a lot more time to develop. The styler, for example, that's taken, I want to say 4 or 5 months and tens of thousands of lines of rewrite. So that's why that one's taken a little bit of time to get out. But other things can be a 10-minute job, and we can help someone's project out with it, and we'll implement it.
Yeah. And the only thing about doing a major rewrite for the styler is the code should get better, not worse as you go. You would hope, right?
I hope so. Yeah. No, we've gone through every line of CSS on the client side where the form is, and we've completely rewritten it. So it's going to be a lot cleaner. We're also dynamically loading the styling now. So if you don't have certain field types on your form, it's not going to load the CSS for that field type. So it's going to make the output of WS form even cleaner than it is today.
Yeah, that's true. And it's pretty lightweight. Like I would say, even a pro version, I was looking at my site today. I'm running 1, 2, 3, 4 WS Forms extensions. So I've got one.
Yeah, it's pretty lightweight. Yeah, it's and that's a continual thing that we're working on as well, is just getting the overhead down as much as possible, because it does so much. You know, it's not a contact form 7. It gets used a lot on some quite complicated, incredibly complicated forms, some of them that I see. And because of that, you know, there is going to be a slightly larger overhead on the core files, but we've done a lot to split that up. So just for example, like a phone field, it will only load the JavaScript for that. If you've got a phone field on the form, it'll only load the CSS for that field if it's on the form, and that keeps the file sizes down. So we take into account like all this dynamic enqueuing stuff that we do that really helps speed things up. So everything we can do to speed the product up, and there's more to come. We'll keep improving it.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Thanks for sharing a little bit of what you got going on, jumping on. It's been a fun journey. I'll say the least. I
Yeah,
mean,
you've been there for a lot of it.
I've enjoyed it too. Like I was gonna say, I was thinking the other day, which ones do I like the most? Well, the groundhog integration I've used with clients.
Yep.
I certainly use the HubSpot integration for myself.
Hmm.
Contacts go right to a CRM. I've used the MailPoet integration many
Hmm.
times. It's
Hmm.
easy. Um, what am I?
Google Sheets is the one I think you were using recently.
I'm still using. I have a massive form I'm designing for a dating site, and it's all check boxes.
Yeah.
It's for a singles dating service, and Google
Hmm.
Sheets coming into play on that one big time.
Yeah. 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 The Google Sheets one is Google's become more and more complicated to work with recently. They've been tying down on
Yep.
scopes for when we connect to it, which means that we don't have access to stuff that we used to have access to. So it's become a little bit more complicated. Because one of the things that I've always tried to do with the integrations is if you click add and then you choose a list or a template from your integration, WS Form builds a form for you. That's always been a big selling point on it. And it auto maps everything bi-directionally.
Except with
And
Google Sheets.
yeah, except with Google Sheets now, because they've forbidden access to Google Drive, so it doesn't make it quite as fun to use. But underlying, it still works perfectly fine. But I'm finding that with a lot of Google stuff, I don't even use Google Analytics anymore. It just became too complicated to use.
Well, yeah, I think Google Analytics 4 made a mess of the world, and
Yep.
the the average site owner doesn't even need all those analytics. They want to know how many people are going to what
Yep.
pages and so. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's why other products like Fathom, for example, have become popular because they're just easy out of the box solutions to use. And Google's just so complicated. I mean, even when we have Google conversion stuff built into the plugin, using the data layer and everything, and even that was complicated to get working. And then people trying to use it are just like, it's not working, and it's overcomplicated in my opinion. I can see why they've done a lot of what they've done. It's really made it flexible, but for 99.9% of their users, it's so complicated to implement. And I think that's why people are steering away from it.
So true. Hey, Mark, if somebody wants to be as forms, best spot's probably the website. And
Yeah. Yeah.
where's the where's the best way to get a hold of you? Because I happen to know you are on this site called Blue Sky right now too, as well.
I know. Yeah. It's that thing is blowing up, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, I'm on everything. Usually at Westguard, or at WS underscore form. On Blue Sky, I think it's at wsform.com. And then I think mine is at westguard.co.uk. I think I put my domain in there. So you
Yeah.
should be able to find me there. But yeah, on all the just type in Westguard market. There aren't many Westguards on the planet. So
Have, have,
WESTGUARD.
have you avoided Mastodon? Or are you there too?
I think I'm there somewhere, but probably on a server that's been discontinued.
Yeah, it sounds like our friend Nathan Wrigley's old server. Right?
Probably that one. Yeah, yeah. Probably been
Anyway,
deleted.
I think he's been trying to delete some people for years. So there you go.
That's the way you did it. Yeah, you just deleted the entire server just to get rid of me.
Yeah,
Love
yeah,
Nathan.
me too. Thanks for joining me, Mark. Have a wonderful day, and I hope 2025 is a good year for you and WS Forms.
And I hope it is for you too. And congratulations on episode 500. This is awesome.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.
Thank you very much for listening to the STM Show. The STM Show is brought to you by Stunning Digital Marketing, your digital concierge. For all your digital marketing needs, especially WordPress security, jump on over to stunningdigitalmarketing.com and let's help you put the pieces together and make your business succeed in the marketing realm. That's stunningdigitalmarketing.com. Very special thank you to Mark Westguard of WS Forms for joining me on episode 500 of the STM Show. Also, a special thank you to all the listeners, all the guests, and of course, to Tiz Marrone. Have a great day, everybody, and be well. This podcast is dedicated to my late father, Bruce Cairns. Dad, I love you. I miss you very much. And thanks for all the inspiration over the years and your caring, your understanding, and helping me grow as an individual. Thank you, Dad.